bowling, as in we're inside the Virginia Beach Pavilion. Arena-style atmosphere as 3 teams, 15 players take aim at this prestigious team title. It's the American Bowling Congress Brunswick World Team Challenge Championship. Hi, everyone. I'm Phil Ferguson. Certainly great to have you by for this interesting event. We go back a few years. A team event. Joining me, my partner, Marshall Holman, PBA Hall of Famer, winner of 22 titles. The list goes on. And Marshall, when you talk about this event, first of all, a unique format.
Well, it is a unique format. We had 26 teams that started. They bowled 6 games of qualifying. Then they went into 52 games of Baker format. Now, that's a little bit different. Baker format, the number 1 bowler bowls the first frame and the 6th frame, number 2, 2, and 7, and so on down the line. It makes for a very interesting and difficult format at times because how much momentum can you build when you're only bowling 2 frames in each game?
Well, Marshall, it's been a long week for these players. Once again, down to 15 players, 3 teams. Some interesting folks out there.
Well, we've got some players that you're going to recognize, people that bowled on the Pro Bowlers Tour, and then you're going to see people you've never seen before. It's going to be very interesting, especially how are the youngsters going to react to the pressure situations. Phil, why don't you let us know who's going to be in that first match?
All right, thanks a lot, Marshall. Certainly ready for some exciting team action. And you take a look at Team Turbo. How about Ted Hannes, huh? He's won a couple of PBA titles out of Zanesville. Bill Hoffman, Brad Kazuki, former Rookie of the Year, Brian Kretzer, Tony Manna Jr. from Omaha, Nebraska. That's Team Turbo. They'll be competing in the opening match. Team Kegel. Larry Barwick will lead off, followed by Tom Kreitz. He's won 5 times on the PBA National Tour, a couple of major championships. Ken Fishman out of Tampa. Dave Ohm, great regional player. And Sammy Zurich. How about Sam? He's also won a couple of PBA titles and a mess of regional championships. So, Marshall, once again, team competition. We go back a few years when you think about team competition. But really, this is how bowling got its start.
Well, it did. The team tournaments back in the 40s and the 50s and the early stages of the PBA. Now, here's a very exciting young man, Brad Kazuki. He bowled on tour for a number of years, 1990 PBA Rookie of the Year with his first shot. And he comes up light and leaves the 1 and the 2 pin.
Kazuki, 33, 6'3", 175 pounds. Maybe some jitters out the gate for these players. Well, some of the players.
Well, sure. Even the experienced players are going to be a little nervous, especially at the very start. Important to fill up the frames.
I get it back. Able to do so. So Kazuki with a spare. He knew he had it all the way. Take a look now at the Kegel Training Center. Leadoff player Dave Ohm. He's bowled an awful long time. 12 PBA regional championships. Followed Don Johnson a little bit with the release. Got it to work.
And more of a down and in kind of trajectory for Dave Ohm. We take a look at the really classic style. Very nice, good push away, good balance, shoulder high backswing. And he follows through directly toward his target. Shakes the pins down.
Now we'll take a look at Ted Hannes out of Zanesville. Watch his footwork if we can get that a little bit later on. He drifts about 20 boards. 17 when I was out there watching Montour a little bit. Now 20, so it's getting a little bit older.
And if anybody won't be nervous out here, it's Ted Hannes, a seasoned veteran, PBA champion, and bowls almost every week. A head-on look at Ted Hannes. Look at that drift, as you were saying, 17 boards. But it doesn't matter how he gets the line. It matters that he gets the line the same way every time.
Key out here, certainly in bowling and in a lot of sports, repetition. So it's Turbo 2-in-1 grips. Going up against Kegel Training Center here in the opening match. Ken Fishman of Team Kegel is up, trying to give his team the early advantage. Just waiting just a bit till we've got everything in place. Second frame, semifinal match. Nice style, bringing it back. And able to kick it out.
Oh, with a nice friendly roll of the 10-pin.
Boy, Fishman gives his team there the early 10-pin advantage. Take a look at the team members. A little bit different in a team sport than bowling out on tour as an individual. Tony Manna Jr. of Team Turbo, third frame. Well, that was pure.
Very confident shot from Tony Manna.
And lights don't seem to bother these guys.
Ball going out to about the 8 board, starts making its hook. The break point at about 50 feet, real late. Gets back in the pocket, and you can see the team very pleased to have that strike.
Big double. Cagle trying to make it 3 in a row. Brings it up and kicks out the 10-pin. So Larry Barber gives the team a 3-bagger to start. They've got the early advantage here in the World Team Challenge Grand Championships in Virginia Beach. And we're back. Team Cagle up by 10 pins over Team Turbo, and they bowl 2 games, right, Marshall?
Yeah, they do, Phil. And after this first game, the teams will switch lanes. So, you know, one lane may be a little easier than the other. You got to hang in there on the tough lane and get it when you can on the good one.
It'll go by total pins.
Total pins for the 2 games.
Bill Hoffman, take a look at this lanky righty. Brings it back and leaves just the 10 pins standing using the Brunswick gold pins.
3-pound, 10-ounce pins, so they don't fall quite as easily as the 3-pound, 6-ounce wood that you're going to see at your local bowling center.
Hoffman, just 25 years old, the 1998 Barcelona singles champion. Great game as he picks up the single pin spare. Trailing by 11 out Turbo as Cagle working on a 3-bagger, and Tom Kretzer, former PBA member, 5 PBA national championships, a couple of majors, touring players title in 1987. Also won the PBA national championship the year prior in 86. Beautiful style. Boy, you're getting pumped up early. So the number 4 player in the lineup, Tom Kretzer, comes through. Nothing but strikes for Cagle Training Company.
Boy, a powerful strike for Tom Kretzer as he gives his team a 21-pin advantage.
Brian Kretzer, the anchor man on Turbo 2-in-1 grips. 5'10", 200 pounds.
Look at that hook. But it came in late. The 10-pin just falls out. Fortunate, just the 2 and the 4 standing. Looks like right now, Phil, the left-hand lane, a little more of a hang spot on it. We can see once again that ball's at the 3 board at 45 feet. Very fortunate to knock the 10 out and leave a relatively easy spare. The 2-4-10, certainly not easy to make.
Trying to track back. Kind of looks like Brian looking right down almost at the foul line instead of out on the approach, as most players do.
And he throws the big hook for the spare as well. I'm really kind of surprised. I would think he'd throw it hard and straight, but to each his own.
Sam Zurich from Melbourne, Florida, another former PBA member. Still has his card, couple of PBA national championships, 35 regional titles.
He's doing lots of bowling. I tell you, it's like a reunion out here seeing all these guys who used to bowl on tour. And that will be the first time that the Cagle Training Center team did not strike.
Zurich, the anchor man. Wiping the ball off a little bit for that spare shot. Some players just leave the oil remaining on the ball surface, don't they?
Some do. I always like to get the ball as clean as possible before throwing it. That's got a hook. Can you believe he would miss the 2-pin? I tell you, it just shocks me. That shocks me. And you talk about momentum, and it's certainly important in every sport. Right now, Brad Kazuski's got to feel like he's got some momentum on his side. Watches the ball just simply does not hook back up to the 2-pin. Once again, I really stress throwing the ball hard and straight, especially for single-pin spares.
So Cagle up by just 10 now, midway through this first game. Got it out, coming back, and a strike. Big strike to get things going in the second half of this ball game, and you only get 2 shots at it, don't you, Marshall?
Well, that's it. And Kazuki certainly firing up his team as Dave Olm right now Now up on lane 4.
Ohm, 5'11", 195 pounds. Very deliberate style. Back through. Stubborn 7-pin.
Now 7-pin just would not quite fall. Ball didn't quite get back up to the pocket. You can see the ball trying to make the move. Doesn't quite get enough of the head pin to rattle around and get the 7 out. But boy, for Dave Ohm, I certainly wouldn't expect anything but a spare here. Always an accurate player.
Ohm, the 95 ABC team, member of the team, all event champions. Picks up the 7-pin spare with ease. We've got really a tight match here in the ABC Brunswick World Team Challenge Grand Championships. Just an 11-pin lead now for Kegel Training Company over Turbo 2-in-1 grips. The Virginia Beach Pavilion, beautiful site to hold the championships here. Team event, and just keep in mind, right now just a 10-pin advantage for Team Kegel over Team Turbo. However, 2 games, total pins.
And Team Turbo with a strike up. They can make this an even match if Ted Hannes can strike here in lane 3. And he did just that his first time up. That ball, excuse me, Phil, that ball certainly did not get back up at the pocket. The 1, 2, 4, and 10, the washout. We'll take a look at Ted Hannes. Look how far he drifts from behind. That angle is just great, but this ball went about 4 boards too wide. Never had a chance to come back.
Difficult spare?
It is a tough spare. Ted's a very good spare shooter, and he will rocket this ball hard and straight. He pulled it, leaves the 1 and the 10, and the deficit grows for Team Turbo. The chance to tie the match up, Phil, and with that open, they fall much further behind.
Kegel Training Center's Ken Fishman working on a spare. Beautiful style, brings it out, back, and got it. So Fishman with 18 career 300 games and 3 800s come through for his team, and right now they're up by several pins. 34.
We see the ball rolling down, just absolutely high flush in the pocket. Great shot from Fishman, and now the momentum right back with their team.
Tony Manna bringing it back, and he sets it in. So really, you're not in a win or lose situation here in this first game. You want to keep the team close if you're back a few pins here.
Well, you want to, yeah. I mean, they're busting themselves for everything they can possibly get. Want to get every pin, keep things as close as possible.
As Larry Barwick steps up now in the 8th frame. 83 and 84 Super Hoinky Classic champion, held in Cincinnati. 40 years old. Got the Brooklyn.
Well, Barwick fortunate to get that strike. It's great to have Larry out here. He was in a very serious automobile accident, I believe, in 1990, and he's had many surgeries, and it's just great to see him back out here. And I'm sure he feels fortunate to be able to bowl, and he felt very fortunate to carry that Brooklyn strike.
Bill Hoffman, his team down 34, heading into the foundation frame. Ted Hannes right behind him looking on, seeing the line he's playing, and still not able to come back.
Well, the 4, the 8, and the 10, and that left-hand lane has got a big hang spot on it. Ball's coming in light. Guys expecting them to hook back up.
Might be a difficult format to get used to, Marshall, just bowling 2 frames in a game.
Well, it's hard to really get any of your own momentum going. He gets the 4 and the 8. The 10 pin does not fall, and it's another open frame. Turbo 2-in-1 finding themselves with 190 as the best game they can shoot, and for the Kegel Training Center, 257 if they take it all the way out.
Tom Kretzer, he struck on his first attempt, 37 years old. Low angle for you, right there.
Boy, they're looking to put the big hurt on him right now, and Kretzer, a seasoned veteran player, bowled many years on Pro Bowlers Tour. He takes advantage of it. Boy, that's where you want to get the ball lodged. And the reaction from Kretzer, he's got to like it.
Brian Kretzer up now in the 10th frame, once again possible 190. turbo 2-in-1 grips. A little bit slower speed. Able to make it come back on the back end. He slows down the speed just a bit.
Yeah, they're not feeling real good right now, but they know they have the opportunity to bowl the one game on lane 4. And big deficits can be made up in this format.
Kretzer with 40 300 games over the span of his career. 12 megabuck sweeper titles. He can bowl some big-time bowling, and he's showing it right now. The big strike. He needs another one here. Keep the team in the hunt. Again, slower speed right there.
Well, he's figured out something, you know, but he gets one more shot on that lane, and now he's going to go to lane 4, where maybe that slow speed could get him in trouble.
Beautiful delivery. Beautiful style from Brian Kretzer.
And a man who's not afraid to throw strikes. He's got a high 3-game set of 868.
That's a few.
That's a bunch of them. It's a bunch more than I ever had.
Bring it back again. Leaves just the 4-pin. But a nice effort from the anchor man.
Yeah, 189. Keeps his team in touch. His ball's going to finish just a little bit high. Does not trip out the 4, but 189, you know, not bad considering the trouble they had in the 7th frame and the 9th frame.
Sam Zurich, if he strikes out, 257. Should he get all 3 here in the 10th?
Got to hurry.
That may have opened the door just a little bit now. Certainly got more of a match in that second game. The winner to face the team of Storm.
Well, he makes a good shot here. Now, he missed a 2-pin, which is about as easy a shot as you can have. You see him leaving the 10-pin and his reaction from that shot. Now, I've known Sam for a long time. He really is a good spare shooter. He definitely makes this.
You're the man, Sam. You're going on the limb.
That limb wasn't very far.
Yeah, look, not too far up, not too far out. Possible 236. But a big first game by Kegel Training Center. Here in the semifinal match, Zurich with 74 career 300 games. I mentioned before about his 35 regional championships. That's a record.
Strike here for a 46-pin lead after one game, 236-190.
236 to 190, so down to 46 here in the semifinal match.
Now the final shot of the Kegel Training Center team. They've got to feel good about their position right now. Good positive reaction.
There's the team getting up, getting ready. One more big game pin win, at least in game 1, Marshall, but still another game to go.
Well, yeah, they're one game for each of these teams, and the 46-pin lead. I like their chances, but it's not over yet. Now Dave Olm up on lane 3. Let's see if he has trouble getting the ball out of the pocket. That was the main problem with the other team in our first game.
Able to do it, but leaves that 10-pin.
Yeah, it makes a good quality shot, and right now marks are what they need. They don't want to give the other team too much of an advantage. Now Dave used to drill balls for the tour from 1997 to 1999, and now he's got a pro shop in Tampa at Crown Lanes. So Dave certainly understands what type of equipment works for him as well as other players.
Going for that 10-pin, got it out, and that's not going to make it. So an open to start this second and final game here in the semifinal match.
Well, that ball just falls off his hand, falls off into the channel, and that 46-pin lead is now only 35.
Brad Kazuki, 6'3", 175 pounds, trying to get it going now. For turbo 2-in-1 grips, got it coming back as he ripped it, but leaves that 10-pin. So once again, the teams switch lanes and will bowl the entire game on that particular lane.
And earlier, before we started the tournament, the players had the opportunity to take practice shots on all the lanes, so they should know what's happening. Now, right now, Kazuki, he switched balls. He'll go hard and straight for the 10-pin. He makes it. Maybe not the best form in the world, but happy to make the spare.
A good start, though, for Team Turbo.
So you can see Kazuki's going to throw the ball hard and straight, and when you do that, sometimes you lose your footing. Well, actually, he's stuck a little bit.
Ken Fishman, second player up, brings it back and able to kick it out, the 10-pin. So after an open in the first frame, strike for Team Kegel.
And Fishman has struck on every shot he's thrown. 3 for 3.
Ted Hannes, Zanesville, Ohio. 1996 National Resident Pro Champion. Flattened out a little bit, but able to kick it out.
Well, the 4, the 5, the 7, the last 3 pins to fall, and happy to have it. Ball's making its charge back, Phil. It looks like it's going to rip the 5 out of there, but as you said, it flattened out. He'll take it any way he can get it.
Kegel still up now overall. This is the second game. We take the total score of both games. Team Kegel up by 35. Larry Barwick
to make it 45.
Beautiful shot, but again, the corner pin's out here a little bit tough.
Especially lane 3 does not come back quite as hard as lane 4. It was a problem in the last game for Turbo 2-1, and now Kegel Training Center is going to have to combat that lane as well.
Shooting cross lane for the 7-pin. Hold on, and does just that.
Another player switching balls, going to the harder ball. You don't need a lot of friction or a lot of power to knock down a spare. It's all accuracy.
So we head up now to the bottom of the third frame, and Kegel still out in front by 35. Kegel won the first game 236 to 190. And a strike. So big double motion.
All of a sudden, what was a 46-pin lead is now a 25-pin lead for the Kegel company. It's still real close, Phil.
Kretzer up for Kegel Training Center, and we've got a little bit closer match. 46 pins after game 1 and narrowed it down just a bit.
Well, down to 25 pins. Tom Kretzer, the best he can do is keep that advantage at 25 with a strike here. He's working on a spare. Hurry back. He gets him. Mixes him around.
Kretzer, the 1981 collegiate most valuable player, gets out there and scatters him.
Ball starts making its move. It's moving really late, especially on the left-hand lane. Knocks them all down, and the reaction of a pleased Tom Kretzer and a pleased Kegel team.
Turbo 2-1 grips down 25. Tony Manna. Got to keep it going. Sets it in there. 3 in a row.
Yeah, lane 4 certainly does look like the lane that everyone wants to bowl on. Tony Manna does a yeoman's job for Turbo 2-1, bringing them to within 15 pins.
Definitely got a match of Sam Zurich, Melbourne, Florida. He opened in the first match, missing a single pin spare for Team Kegel. But boy, what a performer over the years on the Pro Bowlers Tour. Look at his style.
Flip, baby, come on.
Yeah, there's no flip on that lane, Sam. He's talking to that ball, asking it to turn over. He leaves the washout. Watch the balls. It just hangs off to the right. He's got the 1, the 2, the 8, 6, and the 10.
That's ugly.
It's ugly, but it's makeable. 2 ways to make this. You can either go in between the 1 and the 6, or you can go left. I think he'll shoot left.
Working on a strike, so I imagine you want to get as many pins here as possible on that strike.
He wants to make this. He gets just 8. Boy, that lead is almost all gone, down to just a 1-pin advantage for Kegel.
Kegel won the opener 236 to 190. 2-team total pin score. Now Turbo working on a 3-bagger. Way out. It'll come back.
Ooh, solid 10.
Of course, they go over that side. Big surprise there.
So the 10-pin. As you watch it go out.
Now you'll watch the 6-pin go right around the bottom of the 10-pin, and certainly not a happy reaction, but it was a great shot. Just make the spare. You're only going to be a couple pins down. Just barely does hang on, converts the spare.
You only need to nick it, only get it down, and he was able to do it. So
I'll watch and see this ball trying to miss, but just hangs on.
living on the edge just a bit as Dave Ohm now comes up in the 6th frame.
And they can take that solid 10 and use that to their benefit to help pump them up. Dave can strike here, which he does. Really fire up the Kegel team. Get them back to feeling like they've got a good positive chance in this match.
Just a 2-pin advantage for Kegel. This is a fun guy to watch. He can really twist it up and get it going.
Kind of was known as kind of like a class clown when he was on the tour. A very funny guy.
Well, look at that ball.
Boy, no 10-pin that time for Brad Kazuki.
So Kazuki comes up with a strike, counters Dave Ohm's strike in the 6th frame, and we've got a match, just a 2-pin advantage.
Watch as Kazuski's ball goes way out to the right and then fires back. Actually drives past the 9-pin. Great shot from Brad Kazuski. His team just 2 pins down. Both teams working on strikes. And we'll be right back after this. And Phil Kent has not missed. 3 shots, 3 strikes. A strike here would put his team up by 12 pins. Good position to really put the momentum back on their side.
Tried to hold off, didn't do it.
Well, fortunate just to leave the 3 and the 6, but that's what happens on a lane that the bowlers are afraid isn't going to hook back on. Instead of trusting it, they pull the ball a little bit. This ball right through the face, through the 1 pin. 3, 6, 9, 10 standing. Very difficult spare. 9, 10 gone. And the 3, 6, which still many ways to make, many ways to miss, but much easier. That's got a... Oh, he chops a 3 right off the 6. And all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, Kegel's advantage is gone. It left them early in this game. Went down to 2 pins, and now it's a 10-pin edge for Turbo 2 and 1.
Well, usually when you give Ted Hannes a little bit of a break or a little open that door a bit, he'll walk right in.
Hannes has thrown 1 ball on lane 4. He struck in the 2nd frame. Ball comes in high, leaves the 4, the 7, and the 10.
Come on, 2 of them. Come on, 2, buddy. One more down. Only down 2. Make this.
Hannes with 18 regional titles.
You see the big drift. He walks way left, but he aligns his body to make the shot, although that time I think he's hoping the ball stops hooking. It goes through the nose, and be interesting to see if he's going to try and make this or just go for the count. Count right now, very important.
8th frame. Got 2.
This thing is flopping back and forth.
So as we head into the final frames, the final 3 frames, into the 8th frame, very close.
Well, Kegel now has a 2-pin lead. They got their 2-pin lead right back.
Larry Barwick tries to get his team going. Both teams opening up in the 7th frame. There you see the score. 44-pin differential. This game.
Hurry. Well, at least he knocked the bucket down. He got the 5 and the 8. The 2 and the 4 fell out, making this a relatively easy spare. And, you know, now not only are the lanes part of the problem, but we're getting down to the later frames, and that's when the emotions and the nerves start coming into play.
So just a slim 2-pin advantage right now for Kegel. They won the first game by 46. They trailed this game by 44.
Oh my gosh! This is the 5-8, and that's got to be all nerves, and certainly a supreme disappointment.
So now Young Bill Hoffman, 25 years old. We'll see
Watch
what
as
he
the
can
ball
do.
just hooks by. And his teammates have got to feel just terrible. They can't believe it. How could he miss that spare?
Hoffman in the 8th. Got it out. And
Now he leaves the 3-6, 9-10.
now the lanes are going through evidently a fairly big transition. You had mentioned it before, the nerves, etc. But breaking down a little bit?
Well, the oil from the front of the lane moves back towards the back, and you have to keep making adjustments. The bowling balls are so strong, Phil, that they actually do piggyback the oil from the front of the lane down to the back of the lane. And, when you're not bowling one shot after another, it's even more difficult to make the adjustments. Can he pick up this tough spare?
Does just that. How about that for the 25-year youngster out of Columbus, Ohio? Oh, that's a big shot.
Puts a big smile on his face.
Thank God that's over.
You don't want to shoot that spare.
Pretty good.
Take a look at the ball. In the perfect spot.
So Turbo now up 9 pins heading into the 9th frame. Tom Kretzer
Boy, they were happy to see that spare made.
or Kegel.
They really need to get something going on this lane.
Nice shot.
Kretzer makes the perfect shot, leaves the 10 pin. Boy, made a great shot, just didn't quite get the cooperation from the 6 pin as it goes around the bottom of the 10.
Leaves a 10 pin. I'm sure his wife Jody looking on at home. 2 children, Kaylee, age 11, and Alexandria, 2.
A must make.
Hits the ball to slide.
Just hangs on.
Spare for Kegel Training Center in the 9th frame, but they're down by 9. It's Tony Manna Jr. from Omaha, Nebraska. Here's a good look at the scoreboard right now. Remember, this is a 2-match semifinal match. Team Turbo in blue holds off, and he picked up the speed a little bit. A big strike in the 9th frame.
Tony has done a very, very good job in both games, really throwing lots of great shots. Found the line here. Ball holding the pocket, 10 in the pit. Everything's down.
So now it's up to Sammy Zurich in the 10th frame for Kegel in the light green shirt.
Well, here's the situation right now. If Sam Zurich can figure out some way to strike this game out, he'll give his team a 1-pin edge going into Turbo 2-1's 10th frame. But you got to get the first one.
Oh, able to kick out the 10, then the 7. Oh, my.
Maybe a guardian angel watching this ball. It really was very high off his hand. Looks like it's going to go Brooklyn for a while, but it hangs in there. There goes the 4, the 10, the 7. And I think they're saying thank you.
Well, he made the adjustment because in the 5th frame he made a big open, a 5-3 count in that 5th. He comes back here in the 10th.
Larry Barwick, you could see him saying one more. They need this one. They'll need the next one as well. At least that shot forces the other team to mark.
Oh, it kicks out the 7. He flies them all over to the 7 pin.
Boy, what a great shot, a clutch moment. Makes it a much more difficult situation for the anchorman for Turbo 2-1. Best they can do, 162, but that 162 will give them a 1-pin lead.
Then it'll be up to Turbo 2-1 grips in the 10th frame as Zurich steps up for his final shot, team's final ball.
Just huge, just so important. All the pins. Take that 1-pin lead. Does he do it? Sam Zurich comes through in the clutch in a big, big way.
Boy, that's big-time bowling. He was lost in that 5th frame, comes back, 3 straight strikes. Gives his team a big chance here.
And it's simple right now. If there's not a strike on this ball in the 10th frame, Kegel wins.
All up to Brian Kretzer.
Kretzer left a solid 10 his first time on this lane. They put him in the anchor position because they trust him. And he leaves another solid 10. Kegel wins He makes a great shot. Kretzer is there in the clutch.
What an exciting finish. Team Kegel, again led by 46 after game 1, but survived here in game 2, thanks to Sam Zurich, who threw 3 big strikes in the 10th frame, and what a great shot by Brian Kretzer, the anchor man. However, would not go. You have happiness at one end, and at the other end, the team from Turbo 2-1, a disheartening loss. We take a look now at Team Storm. Boy, they qualified first. In fact, after the regular 6 games of qualifying, they were first, and after the final 4 rounds, they remained first. They're the team to beat, definitely.
Never left the lead.
Let's take a look now at Team Storm. Brad Angelo, good young player, John Gaines, and then Dave Gwendon, who bowled on the PBA Tour for a time. Boy, a strong player. Tommy Jones and Randy Weisz. And this is certainly, again, the team to beat here in the Brunswick World Team Challenge Championships.
Yeah, but don't you think that Sam Zurich and crew think that they may be the team of destiny after that last match?
Boy, Sammy made quite an adjustment open in the 5th frame of that second game. Appeared lost and came up with 3 clutch strikes as his team went on to win the first match. Dave Ohm, Kegel Training Center, trying to get it to hold off, and leaves just 2, fortunately.
You know, I find it interesting that Kegel Training Center is starting on lane 3, the tougher lanes. I would have thought that the other team would have made them start on the other lane. They just got done bowling a game here, so they've got to be a little bit more comfortable on that lane.
Once again, if you're just joining us, 2 teams here in the championship match. Bowl 2 games. Picks up the spare, so Ohm gives his team the spare to start off this first game, first of 2. And the team will bowl the entire game on the 1 lane. And then the second game, 2 teams will switch. Take a look now at Storm. Randy Weisz, 25 years old, from Columbia, South Carolina. Oh, he wants it to come back, and it sure does. And a big split.
Has some nerves right off the bat for Randy Weisz, as he just didn't project the ball far enough down the lane. Got the ball rolling too early. Once again, another player that will take out a harder surface ball to shoot the spares.
Weisz with 18 career 300 games. So goes for the count. 9 in the first frame. Kegel down early. Again, Ken Fishman, you talked about him, 3 strikes, and then had some problems on his final shot in the second game, trying to get it back. Nice roll.
Yeah, he leads the 10 pin. Well, Kegel's got a 10-pin lead, courtesy of that missed spare. We'll watch the ball of Ken Fishman roll down the lane. Half pocket zone. Look at the 6 pin. It just lays in the channel. Doesn't quite have enough power to bounce back up there and knock the 10 out.
A lot of these players just bowl part-time. Fishman, senior account manager for Intelligent Incorporated.
Uh-oh.
And you said it.
Uh-oh. It gave it right back. Boy, it's so hard to take advantage of your opposition when you just give it right back to him like this. You can see the form of Ken Fishman, ball just going to float off into the channel, just threw it too far to the right.
So Storm now. John Gaines throws it out, and this guy throws a big ball and trying to trip the 4, not to beat.
Well, John Gaines, a big man, 6'5". You don't see a lot of really good bowlers who are tall. It's really a game that any size player can get good, but it's a man lower to the ground, doesn't have as far to reach, usually a little more of an advantage.
Is it a matter of timing?
Well, I think it's, bowling and golf are very, very similar, and your average size, men and women usually are the ones that are more successful in both those games. I wouldn't want to play them one-on-one in basketball, however.
So Larry Barwick for Kegel Training Center, 3rd frame of this first of 2 games. Total pins. Team Kegel during the regular, they bowl individually a 210. They brought it up in the Baker system as the team event, and slides it by.
Now Barwick moved in as well. Swung the ball a little too much, leaves the 1-2-4-10 washout. Going to try and get the ball over to the left-hand side of the head pin, knock the head pin into the 6 pin as he's shaking his head. You know, he missed the 5-8, which is a very easy spare. Maybe a little redemption if he can make this tough washout.
Give it a shot. Got it. Beautiful.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you what, that's good to see. Look at his teammates. They're coming out there going, you bet. We love you, man. We love you.
So Barwick, 84 regional champion, the Southern region, picks this up.
Boy, just absolutely perfect. And maybe Larry doesn't realize that the 5-8's the easy spare and that 1-2-4-10's the tough one. It's happened to all of us. Teammates are right there for him.
Third frame. Dave Gwyndon for Team Storm. Try to get the first strike here of this match. Chips it out and got the kicker. Oh, that was nice.
Gwyndon, he's bowled some big games in this tournament. We see Gwyndon throwing the ball out to the right. Watch as it comes back, Phil. It's going to come back a little bit high in the pocket. Gets the friendly roll of the 4-pin, and it's a strike.
So Team Storm coming out with a 1-pin advantage after 3 frames. Boy, they bowled a lot of games this week, but the Baker system, you don't get a lot of frames in.
No. Actually, the 52 games of Baker bowling would be like bowling about 11 games.
Tom Kretzer for Team Kegel Training Center in the 4th frame. 34 career 300 games for Tom. Also an 858 high 3-game series. 1986 PBA Rookie of the Year.
Well, been a good player for a long time. 1981 collegiate MVP.
Beautiful style.
Long release. Really swings the ball out. He leaves the 4-pin. A good shot for Tom.
So really neither team able to get it going. Just the 1 strike here.
What's so tough? I mean, there's just no time to get any kind of a adjustment made. You know, you throw 1 shot and then you get up for your next one, and that's your only adjustment. By the time you get it figured out, you're going to go to the other lane anyway.
So it's key to pick up spares.
Well, absolutely. It's, you know, you just can't be giving away pins, and the spares are all too important.
Kretzer has no problem picking up the lone pin in the 4th frame. So both teams really trying to get a feel for the lanes here. Brad Angelo in the 4th frame. Angelo, 5'10", 185 pounds. He got it up, and the 10-pin standing. He kicks it out at the end. Oh, yeah. How about that?
Friendly roll of the messenger coming back to knock down that Brunswick Pro pin. 3.10 ounces. Here comes the head pin. It's taking a slow trip over there, but it's got enough momentum to knock it down. You're going to see the great reaction from that happy man right there.
So Sammy Zurich up now, and really came up with 3 clutch strikes to put him in this position. Just a 4-pin in that first match.
Well, Sammy's still lined in, but the ball comes in just ever so slightly high. Right now, Kegel down 13 pins. Doesn't quite get the friendly kick of the 4-pin.
Team members saying, all right, pick up the spare. Sammy, a couple of PBA National Tour titles, showboat doubles in Las Vegas in 1982. Bowled with Nelson Burton, Bo Burton, and also the 82 Buffalo Open. Look at that extension.
Yeah, no problem with the 4-pin. You know, if they can stay close on lane 3, then the Kegel team knows they've got a good chance coming into the lane 4, which has been the higher scoring of the lanes.
So the anchorman for Storm, Tommy Jones, just 20 years old. How about that for an anchorman?
Well, I think it's rather, well, I guess it speaks volumes that they would have that youngster as the anchorman. We'll see if he can come through. Lots of wrist, and that ball is just absolutely winged off to the right. It's the 1, the 2, and the 4.
Wow.
His teammates don't think he's going to get nervous. Just made a bad shot.
Just 20 years old. Won a regional title 760 won 3-game series during the first 6 games. That during the first round. Fix it up. So a nice spare for Tommy Jones in the 5th frame, and we'll see him again several times.
Tommy Jones converting the 1, the 2, and the 4, just the way you draw it up. Put that ball in between the 1 and the 2. 2-pin will take care of the 4.
Kegel down 10 pins as Dave Olmsted's up now in the 6th frame. Once again, each bowler bowling just 2 frames.
2, the 4, and the 8-pin. A difficult spare, but much easier now that the 5-pin has fallen out of that. That would have really made it much more tough. Olm sort of bowls in kind of the older style of keeping your ball on line, not a lot of hook. And in the team challenge in these Baker games, that's a good way to get the job done, because it's not always about strikes, it's about keeping yourself close.
Pick up that spare, so that's an impressive pickup for Ohm in the 6th frame. 13 pins up, Team Storm. And we'll get a look now. Randy Weisz, once again, a couple of youngsters on this team, the Storm. He's 25 from Columbia, South Carolina, in the 6th frame.
Strong release. He came in high last time on this lane. He makes the adjustment, comes in lights, the 2 and the 4.
So Weisz with 18 career 300 games. He finished first in the AMF Scratch Classic. That was in '97. He finished second in the AMF tournament this year.
And only 11 pins separate these two teams right now, Phil. That's got to hurry. Oh, my gosh, it just dropped it off his hand.
So an errant toss off the hands of Randy Weisz. Back with more in a minute. We're back in this arena-style setting, Virginia Beach Pavilion and the World Team Challenge Championships, and we've got a dandy, Marshall.
Well, Kegel now has a 1-pin lead, and I'm still dumbfounded by the miss of the 2 and the 4. The ball just fell right off that young man's hand.
Ken Fishman bringing it up and got it. Able to kick out that 7-pin.
You know, I can't emphasize enough, and I've already talked about it, but, you know, when you're bowling by yourself in a one-on-one match, the momentum's important. But when you've got 4 partners with you, that momentum swing, it really is so much more.
John Gaines, 6'5". Let up a little bit on the speed this time, and it paid off as he puts it down, all 10 in the pit for Gaines from Team Storm.
An important shot for Larry Barwick coming up on lane 3. Really has not been anywhere close to the pocket, trying to knock all the pins down.
Barwick, you had mentioned before, in that automobile accident in the early 1990s, he's lucky to be bowling.
Yes, he is. This is the last shot, the last frame. He's going to have to bowl on lane 3. He wants to make it a good one. Lots of loft.
Interesting shot, Marshall. Looked like he moved a little bit, maybe took something off it, kept it more in the middle of the lane instead of throwing it.
Well, he went with more loft. Really, it was a great shot from Barwick, and, you know, he made the proper adjustment. This ball's going to get lodged in the 1-3 pocket, and it's got to be a great feeling. We'll take a look at a little team spirit from Team Kegel. They're going to go up there and thank him.
It's always fun to see these guys jump up, and oh, there you go. Dave Gwindon out of Buffalo, New York, 44 perfect games, 17 800 series, 32 years old. He'll rip it. Oh, yeah. 9-pin standing up there.
Gwindon takes care of business right there and gets his team back to only being 1 pin down. Watch the ball. It's going to come in hard. The 9-pin, is it going to stand?
Boy,
that's so close.
that's powerful. I see the youngsters getting up a little bit quicker than the guys maybe 30 plus, 40 plus. Tom Kretzer. Again, watch his style, because I've enjoyed this style for a long time. Another 9-pin almost.
All of a sudden, both teams getting hot. Kegel takes the 11-pin lead. And doing it on what we thought was a tough lane.
Grant Angelo, once again, 29 years old, out of Lockport, New York. Team USA member, 1997 and 98. Good size, 5'10", 185.
To get his team back to only one down, important shot for Angelo. And he takes care of it there on lane 4.
Well, they're starting to find it.
Gets that light hit, spins those big heavy pins around.
Still just a 1-pin advantage for Kegel.
Well, Angelo says take that, and this is what he's talking about. This is exactly what he took.
Those are 3-pound, 10-ounce pins.
Yeah, those kids, they don't care.
So Sam Zurich anchors his team, Kegel Training Center. He came through big time in match 1.
Well, if they both strike out, it'll be a 1-pin lead for Zurich's team. And what a wonderful shot he threw there.
He's down on one knee. Got to save some for the second game, final game.
Watch these guys giving each other those high fives. I'm afraid they're going to hurt themselves. Right over about the 12 board off his hand, 17 board when it got to the pins, and he's down on one knee, loving it. I'll tell you, it's a good feeling when you get the ball off your hand properly. It goes down there and just gets high flush.
You almost know it immediately, don't you?
Well, yeah, the good players can tell when it's just basically when it comes right off their fingers. Up by 11. This is for a 21-pin lead. That's got a hold. That ball was inside of his mark a little bit. They found a little bit of hold there on lane 3. He knows he pulled that ball, Phil.
You had mentioned that they go perhaps to the easier lane of the two, or at least we thought.
No, maybe it used to be the easy lane.
Possible 223 for Team Kegel, and Storm can go off with a 222, but we still have one more game. We take the total pins of both games. Teams will switch lanes for that second and final game here in the World Team Challenge Championship. Zurich again able to trip it out. 3 different shots, same result, strikes.
Yeah, he's going to take that wide pocket any way he can get it. That's what the pros and amateur bowlers alike. What they want to do is give themselves area, more room. Zurich certainly has it.
223. Team Storm, once again, 222. Should this young gun, Tommy Jones, strike out, but he had trouble the first time up.
Well, he threw the air ball up the 1-2-4. Will this ball be a little closer to the pocket?
Oh!
I'd say so. The young man made the great adjustment.
It'll be interesting, I think, if they'll have him as the anchor in the second game.
I think they will. And, you know, I really think in the 5th frame, he just got overamped. Settled down a little bit. He's a confident young player. He must be. And his teammates, you know, they're putting, you know, their future in his hands.
The first strike. Watch this young kid throw the ball.
You know, he's got a lot of hand. Bang. He really rips through it. One more, and it'll be just a 1-pin deficit.
This 20-year-old
answering back.
Out of Columbus, Ohio. Anchorman for Storm. Storm led the entire tournament after each round. High, unusual lead.
Well, he came in a little bit high. That's the power. Leads the 4 and the 6. Fortunately, that was the last ball. Only 3 pins down. 1 game to go to settle this championship. We'll be right back.
We're coming down now to 10 frames. 1 more game. 223 to 220.
And you got to like Kegel's chances. The team of destiny, you think? Well, we'll find out. 10 frames to go. Storm will have a lot to say about that as Randy Weisz gets up on lane 3. Only 3 pins separating these two teams.
Tries to set in the pocket, but the 4-9.
Boy. And a very, very bad break right off the bat for Team Storm. makes the good shot. The ball comes in just a little bit high. You know, Phil, if it comes in a little higher, he's liable to trip the 4-9 out.
Well, the only one way to pick this up, right, Marshall?
Well, the way to make is to knock the 4-pin into the 9-pin. The question is, and it looks like he's going to go hard and straight with that ball that he dropped off his hand earlier. And it just doesn't seem like he's got a good feel of that ball.
Almost like it's falling off his hand a little
Well,
bit.
as if the thumb might be a little bit too loose.
So an open here in the final game for Storm. Trailing by 3 after the first game, Dave Olm bowled very well in this team challenge.
Come on, Davey, one time, buddy.
Well, you know, and there's exactly what I was saying. You know, the other team leaves the 4-9. Dave Olm gets up, throws basically the same shot, maybe even a little further left. We'll see as this ball looks like it's high all the way. It comes in high in the 1-3, but the 4 and the 7 both get tripped down, and they're loving it.
Yes. John Gaines up now in the second frame. Another big, powerful ball. Trying to come back, able to do it.
Oh, a quality shot from John Gaines.
Gaines with a PBA regional title. Team USA member in 98 and 99. Boy, strong. Ken Fishman started off well in the first match. Kind of stumbled a bit. Got it back and able to kick it out. Kick out that 7-pin. Looked like he went to a different ball surface.
Fishman trusting the ball. Kind of tickles him down, Phil.
Anyway they go.
7-pin just barely cooperating.
24-pin lead for Team Kegel. Dave Gwyndon.
The powerful release of Dave Gwyndon. Watch as he just really fires through it. Sends it way right. It's coming back, and he stuffs the pins right out of there.
That's certainly a big shot, even though it's early in this final game, but just puts him down now by 14 and keeps him rolling with a double. Gwyndon, what a shot.
And Storm doesn't seem to be having any problem with that left-hand lane. You know, the 4-9 for the leadoff man, but you know, it was a shot that was in the pocket. Next 2 shots are strikes.
Larry Barwick, the 84 PBA Bowler of the Year in the Southern region. Lofted it out a little bit. Just a 4-pin. So that strike from Storm off the hand of Gwyndon, and now the 9 count makes it certainly much closer.
Yeah, if Gwyndon could have, if Barwick would have struck there, would have extended that lead another 10 pins. Now Storm creeps 1 pin closer, and they're working on strikes.
Spares haven't been automatic, but it makes this one a 13-pin advantage for Kegel Training Center. Barwick picks up the single-pin spare. Barwick, the 84 PBA Bowler of the Year, I mentioned that, but also 8 PBA regional championships. A lot of these players, very good, solid regional players. Brad Angelo for Storm. Up in the 4th frame.
Can get his team to only 3 pins down. He does it, and Brad Angelo really has bowled very, very, very good on the telecast today. Watch Angelo's ball as it goes quite a bit off to the right, but makes that turn back. The 10-pin cooperating. 6-pin knocks it out.
When you talk about Kegel, I really like the final 2 players in this lineup with Tom Kretzer and Sam Zurich.
Well, they're players that have been under the fire, you know, at the highest level. So, you know, they've got the advantage there as far as on a great shot from Kretzer. The advantage as far as what they've done in the past and to draw back from those experiences in the past.
Good shot, brother. Good shot. Come on, Z-Man. Bring it on down to the meter.
People don't sit long, do they?
They shouldn't even have the chairs back there. Well, maybe for Sam Zurich. He's over 40. No. 5th frame. This kid is fun to watch. Coming back. Ooh.
Almost trips the 4-pin out. Ball's going just a little bit high. I think they figured out this left-hand lane. You don't want to send it too far to the right, although Gwendon, he's always sending it.
Now it looks like he changed balls.
He'll go hard and straight. He's always going to throw the ball hard.
Backed up a little bit.
Ball can't hook if it ever touches the lane. I'm not sure that came into contact with too much of it.
Zurich for Kegel. Trying to give him a double here midway through this title game of the World Team Championships.
Kegel's 1 pin up right now.
Beautiful style.
Oh, will a 7-pin fall? No, it does not. Leaves a tough split.
So Sam Zurich, and in the first match, he opened in that 5th frame of the first game, but really redeemed himself with a big 3-bagger to pretty much win the match.
Well, he's got the 3, 6, 7, and 10. Get the ball over to the right-hand side of the 3-pin, and basically it's a much easier split than it looks. It's just picking up the baby split. The 3-pin will go over and knock the 7-pin out.
It's over.
Now, got too much of the 3-pin.
So an open in the 5th frame now for Kegel. However, Storm leads by 8. Back with more in a minute. Oh, we're getting right down to it. Storm up by 8 pins overall. 2-game match. Storm lost the first game 223 to 220. However, back up by 11 in this game. So 8-pin lead for Storm midway through this final game. Randy Weisz, several opens today. Got this one back.
Look out, here she comes. The big roll of the 10-pin there.
And that's good. He has several opens today and comes back with a strike.
Well, he needed to do something to feel good about himself. This is right what he needed. Look at the 10 as it flies up there. No problem.
So after the open for Kegel, Dave Ohm in the 6th frame.
And another one for Kegel as he leaves the 4, the 6, and the 7. And right now, Storm is looking stronger and stronger and stronger. And that's got to hurt. That's the last shot that he gets to throw in this televised match, and you got to feel for him.
Ohm with 12 PBA regional championships gets 2. Still 4 frames to go. But Storm here with a big double, a possibility.
And now Storm lead grows to 19, and this man has been making good shots.
The 97 National Amateur Champion, John Gaines, team member, USA 98 and 99. Here it comes. Not quite, just the 2-pin.
Yeah, got a little. It got off his hand a little quick. Didn't quite get the leverage. Get the kind of roll he needed to get the ball back up to the pocket. But the 2-pin, a very friendly sight after that shot.
And this is the pro condition that we're seeing out there on the lanes.
Yeah, this is a condition that the PBA players would be bowling on. So it might be a little bit different for the amateurs. But you know, you give these guys a few minutes to warm up, and you know, it just is bowling. You know, they're very, very good players. It just comes down to throwing shots.
19-pin lead for Storm. As Ken Fishman steps up, this will be his final shot of the match. 7th frame.
Stop ball. Ball goes through the nose. The 6 and the 10 remain. Fortunate to knock down the split, but frames are starting to run out for Kegel Training Center. Remember, they just barely got by the Turbo 2-in-1 team in the opening match.
Fishman picks it up. He was the Hoosier Classic champion at the Saginaw State College. Spare in the 7th frame. Storm still up by 19. Get a good look at Dave Winden. Coming down now to it, isn't it, Marshall? 8th, 9th, and 10th. Well, extra time. Looks like he's looking away.
Taking a lot of extra time.
Rips it.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Said, I knew that was going to come back. I've seen that messenger a lot tonight.
Wow. We've seen that a few times tonight.
And we're going to see it again right here. Head pin to the sideboard. It's coming back. Gwynden's got to love this. Here comes the whole team. They're getting closer and closer.
Look at that youngster up there, Tommy Jones. He's first up there, yeah. Larry Barwick for Kegel. Straight right there in the pocket. Beautiful shot.
Well, good shot from Barwick. Only 19 pins. If they could, well, they've got things set up for Kretzer and Zurich.
There you see the score. Team Storm up by 19 over this two-game match, championship match. Brad Angelo.
Brad struck on this lane.
You like this kid, don't you?
Well, he's thrown a lot of strikes. He's showing me a lot of class. Probably the biggest shot of his career right here. And all he does is throw it perfect, Phil. I mean, you know.
What's not to like? How about that?
His teammates are proud of him, and you know right now he's proud of himself. Well, he should be.
Another big shot. One after another.
Well, what really forces Kretzer to strike here, to have any kind of a chance, if Kretzer doesn't strike on this shot, they're going to need a lot of big-time help from the anchor man on the Storm team if they want to win this team challenge.
Kretzer.
I've been in this situation many times.
Beautiful shot.
Not giving up yet.
Here comes the team.
Still 19 pins. Now here comes the interesting situation. The youngster coming up, needing to
Hi, Alexandria. Hi, Dave.
get a
Hi,
strike.
Joey. Love you.
To shut it out.
Tom, Kretzer pressure never bothered.
He's saying hi to his kids.
Yeah. Now, Tommy Jones, 20 years old, anchor man on this team.
Now, a strike here would pretty much shut things out.
That's pure.
You asked why he was the anchor man?
He answered right there.
That was it. Needs 2 pins. I think the tough part was getting that strike. What a great shot from Tommy Jones, and really, he showed absolutely no nerves at all. Got up there and just ripped right through it. The reaction of the probable winning team. I mean, for Jones, he just needs to keep it on the lane. I'm sure his teammates told him just go real hard and straight, and just get it.
It's a few more than he needed.
That's fine.
They are the winners. Those 5 from Team Storm. Defeating Kegel Training Center here in the World Team Challenge Grand Championships.